like skepticism, and I like to form my opinions based on only the facts. So this really affected how I went into this conspiracy theory, because going into it, I wasn't biased in one way or the other. So the basis of chemtrails is that regular contrails from an airplane disperse quickly after the plane flies through an area, while the chemtrails are the same as the contrails, but they last for much longer, up to a couple hours, and they spread over a large area. I think the reason why this theory has so much traction is because there's actual difference between these two different contrails, but it's not because of heavy metals or chemicals if you look into the science. So the length of the time a contrail lasts is actually due to the ambient humidity in the air. So if the humidity is low, it doesn't last very long, but if it's high, it'll last for a long time. And in certain conditions, it even disperse over a large area, which is gives the chemtrail effect they're talking about. And due to this difference in contrails, it's kind of easy to see why someone would lean to believe in chemtrails. And this video that I took a look at tries to prove chemtrails, but it doesn't actually prove it through facts. It kind of just uses cognitive biases to persuade you to believe in it instead of actually presenting facts. And to make it worse, she doesn't really have any credibility. She doesn't have any doctorate or PhD, and she's trying to advertise her website to make monetary gains, which makes it even worse. So here, this is the first example.
There are 32 states that already have legislation that's related to weather modification.
So this is what she says. She doesn't actually go into any depth after this. So it's Paufania, and she expects you to use your availability heuristic to relate this weather legislation to the chemtrails instead of actually explaining it in depth. And then the next one is at P21.
So that this is happening is completely documented. It's just that you have to know where to look because it's not talked about on mainstream weather reports.
So this is confirmation bias. She kind of dismisses all the evidence that goes against chemtrails and only chooses to look at the websites that prove her theory. And then the final example I have is
It's kind of weird because even though it's factual that there are metals in the atmosphere and factual that those metals are falling to the ground.
So she doesn't actually explain this. She kind of goes in a different point after this. But she said it's factual as metals in the air and factual that they're falling to the ground. But she doesn't actually explain this, and she kind of expects you to automatically connect that to chemtrails instead of looking at any other explanation for that. And these are kind of a few of the examples of how she uses cognitive biases to persuade you to her side. But overall, there was no solid proof, and all these examples of studies in the background, like this right here, are uncited in the video, so I don't know if they're true or not. And after watching this video and doing my own research, I'm pretty confident that the chemtrails are just regular water vapor.
Cool. Good job.